Hello and welcome back to the Megapod and Inco Summer Game Jam. Have another workshop for you, the last one this week. We hope there will be a few more next week, so please stay tuned for the schedule. You can go on inco.org. There's a blog there that's going to give you all of the information you need for participating in the hackathon and obviously the workshop schedule. We're starting to get a few entries rolling in for the hackathon. That obviously kicked off on Monday, but the submission form is there. If you have any questions, you can jump into the Telegram chat. All details of that are on the Inco blog. But today we have the last workshop of the week. This is going to be from Limitless. We got Clyde from Limitless here, and he's going to be talking about integrating live prediction markets into your games. Hey, Clyde, how's it going?
Hey there, it's going well. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So yeah, I'm going to drop off and let you get on with it.
Sure thing. Yeah, well, hi everybody. I'm Clyde. I am the DevRel engineer at Limitless. We are the largest prediction market on base. And today we're just going to do a workshop and talk a little bit about how what prediction markets can offer to game development. What do games on prediction markets actually look like? If you want to follow along or have a reference page on how to go about this, you can go to academy.limitless.exchange where we have games on markets page that I prepared for you guys to kind of follow along. Let me make sure that that's getting streamed correctly. It looks good. And right, so what we're gonna do today is just look at some of the primitives in a prediction market, some of the different aspects of how you can actually use prediction markets as a platform to develop games on. The odds and information that prediction markets actually produce could actually serve to be a game state. You could use hourly markets as game loops, trading agents as your players, and essentially, guys, we're just gonna try and get some inspiration out there and tell you about a few different directions you could take this. So the thesis here and the main idea is that prediction markets are more or less a socially writable game state. So these are markets and these odds are based off of reality. This is information about our world. When we look at odds about certain events, and obviously when a trader, when somebody decides to put their opinion, put money behind their conviction, that's actually updating the state of these markets. It's updating the odds, and in a regard, this can update the reality of a game state. Yeah, and there's really the other unique aspect is the temporal dynamic that prediction markets can introduce and offer the games. You have these cycles that could inspire a lot of different ways to take things. Yeah, so with that, let's get into go a little bit further. Actually, one thing I wanted to mention: Limitless originally started as an esports project. Limitless was working with Counter-Strike, not necessarily with Counter-Strike, but one of the original ideas of this company was how do we introduce prediction markets and live a live interaction towards predicting outcomes in Counter-Strike games. And these days, and this is Inco's whole idea here, the way that where we're at with Fable in GPT 5.6 Soul is that we can one shot these ideas now, and there's so much stuff that you can build in terms of live esports integrations and actually integrate prediction markets onto them. And another thing I'll mention right away is that Limitless is actually going to be offering user-generated markets in the near future. And yeah, so really, Limitless as a platform, in terms of what we're offering to game developers, we have, you can suggest and come up with your own markets as you go. You can generate your whole topics and ideas. You can map aspects of these markets to your game in so many different ways. Right, and actually, one thing I wanted to mention is there's a few different just to talk about the way esports are using pick'em tools and zero user stakings. Right now, Esports World Cup is launching a huge competition right now with these pick'em style games, and yeah, there's a lot of interesting ways to take this actually. Oops, sorry, I clicked back into there. But right, so actually, I think to start with, I want to take you guys a little bit through how Limitless actually works. Um, so essentially, Limitless operates on a order book model, right? And that goes for the vast majority of our markets. We also have AMM markets, but the order book really has a unique offering. It's one of the most effective ways to go about things. So if we look at we can take a pick at Eintracht Frankfurt versus Hull City, right? Um, and yeah, so like in this club order book, the prices are probabilities. The fast resolution of our crypto markets, which by the way, Limitless was among the first to actually introduce these fast resolution short term markets. Um, these actually, this is all public market data, right? And there's no key needed to read, and that's also what we're this workshop is built around not needing an API key to actually stream and access these market data. It's you can build this and build a game off of Limitless's prediction market data immediately. That being said, I'll also briefly touch on later how to actually fully leverage our SDKs and leverage an API token to get more in depth with things here. But what we have today is really accessible just without any API tokens, just fully on the surface and ready to go. But yeah, so as you'll see, like I mentioned, these 15-minute markets and these quick markets actually, I believe, can offer interesting temporal dynamics to game developers. So if you want to have certain arenas or even competitions that are occurring on these hourly bases, you can do that. For this workshop, I even have a little pick'em I've put together if people wanted to join in on what something this is using like purely public data, right? Where you could actually just, and obviously in this case where this is Bitcoin price, a Bitcoin price market, but you could take this in many different directions in your game development. So I'll actually share this one in the chat in case anybody wants to hop in this little pick'em demo that I put together for you guys. I'll toss it in here. Don't let the infinite window scare you. Can I not actually directly share in? Okay, well, I can't share directly in the chat here, but if you go to academy.limitless.exchange to the games and markets web page, you can actually go to Pick'em and take it from there. So actually, I also wanted to take you guys through a bit of the landscape of what games already exist that involve prediction markets. I already mentioned that the Esports World Cup has a huge prize pool for this free to play pick'em, and on fantasy leaderboards, that's no entry fee. We also have Underdog Esports. It's a similar pick'em style game where your wins can compound, and streak counters are pretty fun in this regard. This is a common direction people take things. Obviously, there's like a jackpot model where you can have different sort of prize pools. That's not really how we work at Limitless necessarily, but I wanted to show you how other people are gamifying some of these prediction models. Yeah, and also there's Azuro, which you can take a look at. There's all links here to how people have done it. There was actually a game in the past called Viral Games where some builders aggregated Polymarket and Limitless markets, and it was showcased in ETH Global. So pretty solid way to aggregate and really focused on games and gaming in prediction markets. Um, yeah, with that in mind, I'm actually curious if there's any audience members in here that have look to integrate any prediction market aspects into their games, or if there's any specific questions already regarding how to actually use prediction markets in gaming. I'm just going to prompt that. I do have access to the audience chat, whether or not you are on X or on YouTube. I will see your comments and questions, so please feel free to drop in and ask anything that way. What I also have here, just as a bit of an inspiration, is just some of what you can build, what can actually map through to your games from Limitless. So what we have, one example is obviously the main signal that prediction markets produce as probability, which is telling you, consensus is telling you what the crowd is, where things are at right now. Um, this aspect of prediction markets producing this consensus information, also falsifiable consensus. Um, you can take that a lot of different ways in gaming. I think I grew up playing an amount of RuneScape, and it would have been interesting to have some more of these tapping into the wisdom of the crowd mechanics in these MMORPGs, where you actually have kind of this, like imagine in Lumbridge, where you have everybody there chatting, kind of taking positions on perhaps the price of certain items in game, or the likelihood of X and Y success of certain parties. I think that's, it could be, you could take that a really interesting direction. Obviously, price velocity also tells you something about just volatility of confidence and consensus. So, where does, you could map that to anything involving momentum, panic, escalation in your games. Um, the spread tells you about, the level of noise and in discord and disagreement between two opposing positions in a regard. And again, time to expiry and resolution, there you can get that temporal dynamic, that temporal dimension that you can't, that's sort of unique to prediction markets, actually. I'm just going to check to see if I'm missing anything in the chat here. Nothing yet, but yeah, let's continue. So I can move this over here better. Yeah. With that being said, we can move on slowly here. So what I actually have put together is just a few different tiers that you could kind of follow in a development workshop, where there's one where what games can you put together, what functionality can you put together with just purely public data, so that's just paper money. And I think that's the best fit for a jam like this, where really any AI agent is just going to be able to one shot this like very shortly. And I've put together a couple prompts and what they actually produce um, for you on this page. And yeah, so you can, an interesting one, of course, is you could have some kind of overlaid widgets in your games that's going to show you live odds, maybe in-game odds of any kind of esports or football matches while it's being played. I'd be really curious to see somebody build um, widgets on top of, fighting, not just shooters, but I'd love to see fighting games that have a huge following. I'm a huge Super Smash Bros. Melee fan myself. I'd love to see things get built on uh, even FIFA or some of these other sports games, where the live odds are going to be shifting so much. And certain experts, people that are really good at these games, are going to understand how dynamics and what the little micro gameplay mechanics, how that'll actually affect the outcome of these games. Um, the other way you could take, the other thing you could do with these public market data is actually some kind of mechanic where the market is the boss, is what I'm thinking about. Where so the game state loot chances, waves could actually scale with certain markets. Obviously, in this case, I'm just referencing the hourly BTC market. It's one of our most popular markets at Limitless. But again, like I said, with UGM, you could really come up with your own markets and take that a whole different direction, where the live states of these possibilities and predictions could be channeled into and embody some kind of, whether it be an adversary or some kind of parameters of your game. Um, yeah, so the other idea, of course, is just basic pick'ems, where where contrarian experts are going to win out. That's what I put together here for you guys. If you just wanted to, if anyone wants to hop in on this pick'em, feel free. We can have a little competition on the different short-term crypto markets. The other idea is, of course, to do a survivor type of workshop. So what I was hoping to do was I was hoping we could get some back and forth between any devs that are watching this, and we could even get some. I could help you guys get some agents and traders going, where we could even do like a battle bot arena between our agents in their success at either predicting short-term price markets on Limitless or other different means of kind of testing the agents against each other. That's what I was hoping to do. So if anybody's is curious about that, feel free to message me or hop in the chat. Um, right, and so the next tier after just this public market data of accessing would actually be one where you are going to enter your wallet address, and you're actually, personally using your conviction to trade on Limitless with different volume positions accuracy. And this is actually where your conviction becomes really relevant. So you're not just using Limitless as an information layer, which is what prediction markets are really offering currently, not just to game devs but to Wall Street and to traders at large. Is these odds as live information. But the other way you could do this, is where actually players embody the live actors and agents on the prediction markets themselves. One direction, you could easily introduce a Tamagotchi component that when you go on a six market loss streak, and your Tamagotchi is probably going to be a bit sad, maybe starve to death, or an accuracy RPG. And we're already introducing a few different gamified components to Limitless, where we have your kicks rating, which is, let me find where that is right now. Where did I put the kicks? Yeah. No, can't find it currently, but we have different sort of we have kind of a trader elo system coming up that's either live right now or coming to be live. And that's another direction you can take this, where obviously gamified trading competitions and using elo like systems to estimate people's ability and skills at actually following through with their convictions. Yeah, so moving along further, what you could actually do, assuming, and just to touch on the different tiers of ways you could use prediction markets in your gaming. So there's like public market data, there's actually using a player, like entering as a player and using a wallet address, and then there's actually the fully programmatic route you could take here, which I would hope for a full-fledged integration of prediction markets into a game, you would more than likely want to use API tokens and fully leverage our SDKs, where I want to make sure that people understand the resources that are out there. We have the Agent Starter Kit at Limitless. This is actually something I've put together to help people use AI agents to trade autonomously on Limitless, fully leveraging our SDKs, fully leveraging all the different endpoints necessary to actually run and trade on Limitless Exchange. This one's really easy to use. You just have a skill that you can feed to any of your agents or whatever harness you're using, and it's going to get you live and trading on Limitless very quickly and easily. Yeah, and you can easily fork that repo, swap in your own strategy. I've put together a few strategies here that are kind of out of the box, ready for you to go. Those are in here, where we have like a cross market making strategy that this is a little bit off the gaming trail here, but it's something you can easily use to get live and get a yield bearing strategy going, where you're actually going to take liquidity provision between different you're going to market make across Polymarket and Limitless to actually generate yield on both sides of a market. I'd be curious to see what kind of games people could make that involve cross venue activity as well between different prediction markets that are out there. It's a big landscape. This is just one out of the box strategy we offer to people that want to more or less take delta neutral positions across the different prediction markets. And yeah, with that, actually, I just wanted to hammer home kind of the two mechanics that I think are really good starting points for building on prediction markets. Namely, you could have some sort of sealed picks functionality. So Limitless is an on-chain prediction market. It's an on-chain DEX. We're second in terms of on-chain prediction market revenue. So one interesting thing you could do is, of course, have some kind of blind pick'em tools, or do these kind of hidden role prediction games, secret conviction leaderboards. Um, I don't know if people in here are familiar with games like Town of Salem, or of course like the big hidden role game of Among Us. This might seem like a stretch in terms of how can you introduce prediction market to these sort of games, but um, with the right dynamics and adoption, I think there's a lot of fun to be had with integrating some of these odds and prediction information dynamics to such games, to these hidden role games. And the other classic one are jackpot mechanisms that really compose, of course, naturally with prediction accuracy. So streaks of correct picks as an entry mechanic. Um, and in my view, this is still quite a bit different than any kind of traditional jackpot gaming, in the sense that with prediction markets, you're dealing with information generation and also broadcasting. And so these pooled prizes in gamings are actually generating and producing useful things for people to look at and for people to take into either their games or their trading or their strategies. um, yeah. And with that, I actually have kind of a live build ready that we can get into. Just wanted to give a bunch of context on Limitless itself. um, the prompt that I've prepared just for this tier zero of just using public market data to create um, some kind of basic pick'em game that you can offer to people is one where uh, you just feed your agent our docs. I've put together these docs. They're very comprehensive. Actually, the whole team works on this. We do a lot to keep this updated and active. Of course, we have a for developers section, API reference. Um, as it is now, most agents can just go ahead, visit the docs.limitless.exchange page, immediately are able to use public market data. That is to say, no API key, and build a single page pick'em app. And this is going to list Limitless's recurring temporal 5 to 10, 15-minute markets. And, we can have players enter display name, pick up or down on that market closest to resolving, save picks in local storage. When that market resolves, you'll score each correct pick 1 divided by the price of its side at entry time, capped at 20. Wrong picks are scoring 0, and it'll show a leaderboard. So that is to say, the earlier you're going to take these positions and these convictions, the more you'll be rewarded. Um, yeah, and there's a little bit of a condition here in terms of how our cores actually works. But what this prompt will give you, which I've already run in Cursor, and I can show you how Claude Code handles that. But it'll actually give you just this basic pick'em game where I've added a few bots just to experiment with. Where there's one that's always going to back whatever consensus is currently, and there's the fade bot that's backing the underdog but it's paying big when it's right, and there's a random bot, and then of course there's us, where we can use our convictions and our knowledge to actually take real positions. Bitcoin is currently pumping. I think it's going to keep pumping. We gotta break back out of 65. Again, we're not restricted to using crypto markets or these temporal markets. These highly short term markets. They're really good fit for games, in that you can be really iterative and crank them out quickly. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to take this. So obviously now we got a leaderboard forming. I'm trying to outperform the Fade and MomoBot and CoinFlipBot. They've already taken picks way before me with earlier entries, but that's what that initial prompt is going to get us to. Is this is all just using public data, you know. But where it gets interesting is actually, and this is, I've already added this second prompt to our workshop here, where you can introduce new bots with different strategies, pit them against each other, see who actually comes out of the battle bot arena. I like the battle bot dynamic of I don't know who in here is a battle bot fan, but seeing robots fight and compete is always a good time. I'm a huge fan. And yeah, this might, it's a basic little pick'em game, but you could see how you could introduce mechanisms like this into a lot of different style of games. I'd be so curious to see who's the first person that can properly introduce prediction markets into some MMORPG style game where you have all of these different, aspects of the world that actually might only be able to be expressed semantically. And that's a really unique aspect of prediction markets, is that it makes semantic statements, uh turns them into binary event markets, and makes their probabilities and information around them quantifiable and nominal. And so when you have these worlds with such complex dynamics, prediction markets can actually offer a new primitive to actually, yeah, forecasting and predicting what might happen in a million different ways. And that's one thing I'm really curious about, to see how people can incorporate that. And if anyone's on that endeavor, please reach out to me. I am Clyde Dev, ClydeDev. Um, and yeah, with that, I also want to just mention a little bit about what resources we have out there for devs. Um, yeah, we have, of course, the developer docs, which I touched on. We have SDKs in all these different languages, agent starter kit. Um, and yeah, in this same academy.limitless.exchange, we have, just a curriculum on how to actually go about using an API when interacting with the prediction market, and like using different SDKs. This is all set up, of course, to be very AI harness friendly, where you can copy all of these pages as markdown, feed them into your agents. Um, we also have a builders chat, which I would really like to stress anybody in here to join. That's the Limitless Builders chat on Telegram. That's where builders, integrators, devs all hang out and talk about different things that we're building. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm sort of just handing out resources and basic docs on how to actually get started on Limitless. One other thing that I'll touch on before we wrap up here is just a quick demo on how to actually go past this initial stage of just using public data. If you want to actually interact with Limitless in a deeper capacity as a dev, one of the best ways to do so, of course, is using an API token. And I'm just gonna show you guys how to do that. So when you log in and you load your wallet with a bit of base, the API key is right here. And I'm obviously gonna have to revoke all these now and make new ones because it's out there. But you can go in right here and derive a new token, and it'll give you all the info you need to get started, where you can actually generate everything right there very easily to use Limitless programmatically. And again, like I mentioned, the docs are all in our developer docs here, where we have everything necessary on how to actually use the programmatic API. That's docs.limitless.exchange. And yeah, if there's anybody already here present that wants to show me, or if you want to get more into the nitty gritty of the development itself, instead of just me handing you a prompt, I'm happy to show you. But I think really the fastest way and the easiest way to go about this is going to be to reference our docs, feed them to your AI harness, and actually start leveraging public data, and then use API tokens to ingratiate and go more deep in terms of integrating certain aspects of Limitless into your games potentially. And again, here in the API reference, you could probably get some ideas in terms of what you could, what kind of information or aspects you could integrate into your games. Be it, getting different details about all the different markets that exist. Of course, we have markets across not just Ethereum and Bitcoin short-term markets, but sports, esports, big in finance, and yeah, we also have Navi, which is again similarly esports adjacent. And this is really where you excel at Limitless, are these short-term price markets and esports, which I'm very bullish on the different integrations that could come out of this. Right. So yeah, with that, please feel free to reach out to me on either in the Limitless Builders chat on Telegram or at Clyde Dev. It's the same on X. And really keen to connect with anyone that's curious to introduce either prediction markets to existing games or building a game with prediction markets as a main primitive. I'll be very curious to chat. So I'll open up the floor to any questions if anyone wants to hop in and yap or talk about anything. We can get into it. Oh, there's some stuff in the chat now. I wish I could see it. Oh, we have plenty here. I wish I could see the chat earlier. Sad. Um, do we have any info about how many agents use Limitless? Yeah, that'd be an interesting bit of info to put together. I don't actually have that public now, but I can take a look at that. The Pick'em URL, I believe I shared that. Which game you prefer for free time? I am still horribly addicted for years to League of Legends. I wish I managed to keep it like a monthly occasion, but like it's just too much fun as a social game. More recently, there's some really fun chess variants out there that I'm enjoying. Shotgun chess is really fun. Play a lot of chess as well. Um, yeah. But thanks for the questions. Fun question. What are people playing in here? The thesis here, and I know that Inco's on this. I do think that as prediction markets gain further and further adoption, there's going to be new use cases uh, in different media, and especially these open world games that I'm really curious to see if anyone would try to tackle that. But with that, I think we're pretty much touched on all of it. I'll drop the bummer. I should have dropped the Pick'em link a bit earlier, but that's okay. We can try again another time, or maybe somebody in here can build their own Pick'em app, and I'd be happy to help them out with it. Try it out.
Cool. Thanks, Clyde. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Limitless looks amazing. I'm super excited to see whether any hackathon participants have a go at doing something kind of prediction market related. I mean, obviously the Inco thing is to make things confidential. That's what we do, and I think that is kind of useful in the prediction market space if you're doing some kind of adversarial dynamic and you
Yeah.
don't want other people to see.
Yeah,
So yeah.
these kind of blind pick'ems and using like leveraging Inco's confidentiality could be interesting. Doing some kind of like the role reveal thing and odds around that, I think could get really curious. But yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Clyde. Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining. Get building. You got like how much? 9 days left. The deadline is the 14th of August. It is today, the 7th of August. So yeah, just get going. And yeah, see you next week. Or if you're in Bangalore, we actually have an in-person event for the Summer Game Jam. So you can go hang out with the Inco DevRel team. They will give you some tips about what and how to build with Inco. So yeah, you can go to that. You got to sign up. All of the details are on the Inco X account. So yeah, head over there, look at our timeline. Everything's on there. And yeah, in the meantime, yeah, go follow Clyde. Go